Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my weekly photo chats. So before we start, I'd like to thank everybody who supports the show. By supporting the show, you keep the shows going and it allows me to keep making these. And my goal is to make 3 a week with my Leica's Monday show and my Wednesday Real Gear Experience show. If you can support, please do. Go to supportkenneth.com. And if you can support on a monthly basis, go to patreon.com. That's a big, big help, and it makes everything possible. And it's been difficult for photographers this last year, so I really appreciate you considering that. All right, so today I want to talk about how when we were younger, camera stores used to be a place that I worked at, a place that people came and hung out at. Camera stores were, the only people doing it now really well, I think, are the Leica stores. Because Leica stores have gear in showcases, they have books, they have a sitting area, they have a gallery area, they have a workshop area. They're a place where photography happens, not just gear sales. There are some stores around here that I feel like they just want you to come in, buy, and leave. They really have no interest in your photography. They just have an interest in you buying gear. And I think back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't always have galleries in our photo stores, but people would come there and just hang out at the counter for an hour and just talk. And when somebody wanted to come buy something, they'd take a little break and we'd go sell the camera and we'd go sell a filter or whatever they wanted to buy. And then we would be back to the conversation. And pros came in and amateurs came in and enthusiasts came in and people who were into large format, who wanted to look at the latest large format cameras and 35 millimeter and everything. And it was kind of a social thing. And to me, I don't think you can replace that with social media. I don't think a Facebook group can do exactly what that did. But I have tried, and I actually made a Facebook group called Camera Store Hangout. And it's sort of an invite to photographers who miss the ability to kind of talk about what they've worked on, what they're working on, what they're doing, whether they want to talk about gear or whether they want to talk about work. It's a place to just reminisce about where the camera stores were. If you're at a camera store, take a picture of it and put it on the site. If you have stories about being in camera stores, working at them, or if you just want to come talk photography, the thing that's missing is that camaraderie of being in a physical space and having the time to generate new thoughts, not just in a quick response that somebody sees in 4 hours and then they respond 4 hours later, but like a real exchange, a real conversation. And I'll put a link to it. If you're interested, you can certainly join, and I welcome more photographers to come talk about what they're working on. I keep talking about the Wise Photo Project. I want other photographers around the world to take on the cause of photographing some of the seniors in your world, whether it's family and friends, whether it's neighbors, whether it's people you come across or find and you ask them if you can make their portrait. I think we could change the world, literally, if we were to make so many portraits in so many parts of the world. I kind of think of it, I dream that it would blow up like Humans of New York, where people all around the world are photographing these sweet old faces, because by doing that, these photographs that never would have been made, and people don't think of photographs like that, by making photographic prints and putting them in little frames and giving them to people, it creates a sense of, you made something for me? You made me a gift? There's no strings attached? And those photographs, by being that gift, have some ability to be appreciated, cherished. And I always feel like we're working for people who are 6 generations from now, so that they'll always get to have a beautiful picture of who their ancestors were. It's such an important project. And I talk about that in the camera shop group. And again, my goal is to create, what are you working on? What's important to you? What are you thinking about? What do you have questions about? Make it a place that people who are photographers of all types will come and hang out. And I think we have like 175 members at the moment. And I just want to bring it out to more people and say, do you have stories from either your time at a camera shop working? Sometimes you can come up with some great stories when you were physically working at an actual camera store. My favorite one is a gentleman who walked into our store and there was a long counter the whole length of the camera store, and there were one woman standing at the front of the counter who said, "May I help you?" and three guys in the back of the counter at the other end of the store, sort of the back of the store, standing together. And she asked if she could help him, and he says, "No, I'm looking for the expert on lenses and filters." And he walks over to the three of us, and we all point to her, because she was just as much an expert, and he was completely dissing her. And it was such a fun little moment. But you don't get those kind of stories all the time. But what are your stories? Where have you been? There's a photographer, I'll put a link to this also. There's a photographer named John Dersham on Facebook who posted photographs of camera stores that in his travels he was delivering maybe film or processing every week to different camera stores. And he would photograph the staff of their camera stores with a 4x5 camera. And he photographed a photo mat outside, right down the street from my house when I was growing up. I see the bakery in the background and we got all our birthday cakes from that has long been gone. And that's such a great wealth of going back in time to photo stores and looking through, seeing what's in the cases, seeing what's on the counters, what kinds of cameras were for sale. And if you like gear, that's kind of a fun place to go down memory lane, so I'll put that in there. But Camera Store Hangout, you might be interested in sharing some of your work and your ideas. I'm going to keep encouraging you to join my Wise Photo Project. And you can always find out information about it. Just go to thewisephotoproject.com. I have a link that goes to my site that can explain it. And we can talk about photography at the Camera Shop Hangout. And when you're at camera shops in town, go visit them. Go spend some time there. Talk to the people who are working there. Maybe not to buy anything, but just to ask, what are they making? What do you like to work on? Maybe we can get the conversation going again. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, please do. Hit the Patreon, and thank you so much. I'll be back next week. We'll talk photography. As always, here's the good light.